a chance, even if just for a moment, to get away from the monotony and the drudgery of real life, to be free, to walk on a sandy beach, to relax, and just let the cares of the world wash away with the tide. In the minds of most people, this is what Florida represents. This is why we are free. Because it is a state where the people who live here feel blessed on a daily basis. A bad day in Florida is better than a good day anywhere else. In today's video, I would like to share a personal experience that I had yesterday that I think is instructive, that really represents what Florida is all about. It's not just sandy beaches, blue water, and bikinis. I'm sure a lot of you are looking at this image and going, well, this doesn't look like Florida. Well, it is. It's a house being built just down the street from me. Yesterday, I got a knock on my door. Now, normally I don't get knocks on my door. I have UPS and Amazon like everyone else show up, but usually I have a notification and I'll be waiting for them. So that was kind of strange. So I went to the door and opened it, and there stood a gentleman. And he said, "I'm sorry to disturb you, sir, but I'm having kind of a problem." He was working across the street, and he was the guy that was supposed to be putting in the central air unit. He said, "I got into the back of my van, and I noticed that the drill that I brought with me was dead, and all the batteries were dead, and there's no place to plug it in over at the new house. There's no juice hooked up there yet. Would you mind if I plugged in to your external outlet here?" And I have a small external outlet kind of by the front door. Now, of course, like any good, decent neighbor, good Christian person, of course you can. Absolutely not a problem. He said, "Oh, thank you so much. You're a lifesaver." So he plugs in his thing and walks away, and I shut the door, and it dawns on me. You know, that man exercised a great deal of faith. He was from Jacksonville, and that's quite a ways from Palm Coast, and he walked up to a neighbor's house and knocked on the door. He had mentioned that he saw my garage door open, and that was true because I was expecting a delivery yesterday. So I thought, if he can extend that level of faith and trust in me, I'm going to extend some faith and trust in him. So I went out to my garage, and the drill he had was very much like the one that I have. And so I went out the garage door and caught him before he got back across the street. And I said, "Hey, do you need a drill to get you started?" And he looked at me stunned. He's like, "Well, yeah, that would be great." I'm like, "Here you go." I gave him the drill. I'm like, "If you need any bits or anything, let me know." He's like, "No, I've got what I need." So I went back inside and did my thing. And a couple hours later, he returns the drill, and he comes and gets the charging thing and says, "Hey, I really appreciate what you did. Thank you so much." I'm like, "Not a problem. I've been there myself." Now, what makes this story particular to what's going on in the real world is that he was an African-American gentleman, and I'm a normal white Anglo-Saxon Protestant gentleman. But in that moment, we didn't see each other as black and white. We saw each other as neighbors, as Floridians. And this was the day after the Chauvin verdict. You see, that's what Florida is really about. Governor DeSantis doesn't make Florida what it is. Governor DeSantis is there because Florida already was what it is. He is a result of people just like him. And I have faith that there are people like Governor DeSantis in all 50 states. They've just been afraid to stand up because they have been afraid of not being supported. This is our representative in Washington, D.C., Byron Donalds, and his wife. They are champions for school choice. They're both minorities. This is the Democrat mayor of Palm Beach. We covered this not long ago. He was defending Governor DeSantis with the CBS 60 Minute nonsense. It isn't about man or woman. It isn't about black or white. It isn't even about background. Lower left, Maria Salazar, Republican, Representative, Florida, used to work for CNN. Blaise Ingoglia, chairman of the Republican Party in Florida, born in New York. Michael Waltz, Bronze Star VMI graduate, he took the seat that Ron DeSantis vacated when he became governor. And Byron Donalds, it doesn't matter here. It does not matter here. And believe me, I could do entire videos on our First Lady and the champion that she has been for healthcare and for the environment. In fact, the first thing our governor said in his inauguration speech was that he was going to be a champion for water rights. And that's where we're really going to go today. This is the governing board chairman, Chauncey Goss, of the South Florida Water Management District. Now, I know this might seem like it's kind of boring stuff and not really relevant to national issues, but it is. How you win, and this goes for everyone out there in all states, if you're going to have a prayer of getting good, decent, conservative government, you can't just dismiss the issues of the left. You have to dismiss the way they react to issues. We don't finger point down here. Some are trying to, and they're failing miserably. We acknowledge the problem, acknowledge the issue, and then we find ways going forward to fix it. So without any further delay, I'm going to let this man speak. The governor's going to speak after him, and then there's going to be another guy who's clearly a liberal who once again absolutely acknowledges the governor as an incredible leader and defends him. So anyway, without any further delay, I apologize for the audio on this. I'm going to do the very best I can, but it's pretty clear. You guys are going to love this.
Lastly, I can't say enough to thank you to Governor Ron DeSantis for the opportunity to serve the people of Florida, to get the projects done for our environment. Governor, 3 short years ago, I have a feeling the odds makers would have been betting against us standing here today. This reservoir has been an absolute uphill battle, but it's a battle that needs to be fought. You showed, and you continue to show, courage and leadership. And when I'm sure it was politically expedient for you to just throw in the towel, you didn't do that because that's not your nature. When you commit to something, you commit, you lead, you make it happen. It's a real honor to be able to welcome you here today. And I now give you the 46th governor of the state of Florida, Ron DeSantis. Thanks, Governor.
Well, thanks a lot, Chauncey. Thanks for everybody who's here. Appreciate everybody who's the board members, people working at the district, obviously our partners at the Army Corps. Joe Negron, congratulations. Great to see you here. I know you were instrumental in us being here today. So thank everybody for their commitment to the Everglades. As Chauncey said today, the South Florida Water Management District unanimously approved the project partnership agreement with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers so that federal construction can finally begin on the critical EAA reservoir. Prioritizing Florida's vital water resources has been a major part of my administration. We pledged record funding, and people were excited about it, but they knew it would be an uphill battle. We did it the first year, and everyone was happy. We had it on track for the second year, and then COVID came. We had the budget right before COVID, really. And they're like, well, there's no way this is going to make it. But we were able to make smart choices. You know, I did veto $1 billion, but we were able to keep our commitment to our water resources. And so we were happy to do that. But then people were saying, well, okay, the budget's going to be a disaster for this coming year. There's no way you're going to be able to do it. And in terms of meeting what we promised, I can tell you the legislature is not equaling what I asked for. They're doing much more. for both water resources and for Everglades. So we're actually putting the pedal to the metal, even in this uncertain budget time. But I think part of the reason why we're able to do that is because the state's healthy. We have a healthy economy. You know, they were predicting big shortfalls a year ago, and then as the months went on and they did new revenue estimations, they would always revise it upward. And that was a reflection of the fact that people were working, people were coming here. We had things going. So we did our budget in January reflecting the December estimates, but we knew there was going to be more money every month, January through the end of the fiscal year, but we didn't count it in my budget because it hasn't been estimated. So we knew when they would do the early April, actually a week or two ago, that revenue estimation, they were going to estimate even more revenue coming in. And they did that. And that was like $1.5 billion for the rest of till the end of June, above what we had thought previously. Well, we're now looking at the revenue coming in for April. So they just did a sharp upward revision like 2 weeks ago. And we think we're going to be $300 million over that upward revision for the month of April in terms of the tax revenue, that's coming in. And that's because sales tax, it's because of documents, it's just because the economy is performing far better than people thought. And so that's good in and of itself. Obviously, there's a lot of different things that we deal with when we talk about the budget, but in terms of having sustainable support for certainly for the state's portion of these projects, we haven't said the federal government needs to do all this. We've said we're going to do our share, and we want support. We want a partnership. And I think that's what's happening today. I mean, if you look at the progress over the last 2 years, we've initiated the final phase of construction for the C-43 reservoir. We're nearing completion of the C-44 reservoir and stormwater treatment area. Just last month, many of you were with us when we highlighted some of the projects involving the Tamiami Trail, where we're removing over 5 miles of roadbed from the old Tamiami Trail to improve the volume of water flowing south through the Everglades. And so the progress, I think we're either, for the state's portion, we're either on schedule or ahead of schedule on all these major things, which is great. Now, the EAA Reservoir project includes two major features: a treatment wetland that will clean water and a reservoir that will store excess water from Lake Okeechobee. And in my direction, South Florida Water Management District expedited the progress on the treatment wetland component, which the state of Florida is constructing. The district began constructing the stormwater treatment area last year, which was 12 months ahead of schedule. And as was mentioned, the project is scheduled for completion in 2023. The agreement today brings us one step closer to beginning construction of the second component of the EAA reservoir, the 10,500 acre above ground water storage reservoir built by the Army Corps of Engineers. Now, we thank the Corps for the partnership. We urge them to execute the agreement as quickly as possible so that work can begin as soon as possible. We think that this project is absolutely essential to reduce harmful discharges to the northern estuaries and to help us send more clean water south to the Everglades. And so we hope, I think construction is anticipated to begin later this year. So we obviously support that, and we want to see as much progress as we can. So when we started in January 2019, we said we were going to be ambitious. We said that we were going to, have a strong vision. I think a lot of people throughout Florida are happy that we're finally tackling this in a really comprehensive way. But we said, it's not like you just flip a switch. Like, you got to be on this. And so we've managed to stay the course. So we're happy about this today. And we obviously look forward to more achievements in the near future. And as I mentioned, I think the budget, and they're going through all this right now. This is going to come to a head in the next week and a half. But I think people are going to be really, really satisfied with what we're doing in terms of the budget for protecting Florida's water resources and what we're doing for our infrastructure related to water. And so thanks to the legislature for answering the call. Probably didn't have as much support when Joe Negron was there for some of the stuff we're doing. This was a really tough fight for them back then. Now we have, I think, a stronger consensus. And so I think that that's really good for the people of Florida. So it's an honor to be here. And who's coming up next? Noah, come on.
Thank you, Governor. My name's Noah Valenstein. I have the privilege of serving as Secretary for the Department of Environmental Protection. And what a great backdrop for Earth Day this year. This is wonderful. Earth Day to me is about environmental leadership and challenging ourselves to do more every year on the environment. And you can't ask for a better leader than Governor DeSantis on the environment. Always saying, what more can you do today? What's the next groundbreaking? How much more quickly can you do that project? 12 months ahead of schedule is amazing for South Florida Water Management District. On the first Earth Day back in 1970, there was actually a Floridian in the same position I hold, or sort of a precursor to that, quickly getting ready to go to Washington, D.C. at the time, and that was Nathaniel Reed. And Nathaniel, I've said I've always was envious of his career back in the 1970s with a environmental movement.
So you get the point. Once again, who would have thought that you would have someone talking about Earth Day and protecting the environment and praising a Republican in the same breath? He's really praising a conservative, and that's the difference. This is what makes Florida great. Sure, the pretty girls in bikinis are nice, and the sand is wonderful and warm to walk on, and the water is blue. But what makes Florida free is our ability to put everything else aside, understand how blessed we are, and work together. Like, share, subscribe.